Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine, and I'm here for Insider Travel Report with someone you recognize. He's back, John Wagner. He was the founder and CEO of American Queen Steamboat Company, and now the same for Victory Cruises. And from the ashes, he helped raise this phoenix, and it's a really good story, so I want you to stay and listen here on Insider Travel Report. So Victory Cruise Lines is a new, we're going to say, upscale, all-inclusive small ship coastal cruise line on the Great Lakes and Canadian coasts with two boats, Victory 1 and 2. And let's talk about those two boats.
Let's talk about those two boats, Alan. What would you like to talk about?
Stats. Give me stats.
Yeah.
This is now, nothing's really changed, but except the interior, correct?
Well, the interior, some of the paint job on the exterior, certainly a lot of mechanicals that have changed. It's interesting. I was just putting together some of the statistics for our christening speech tomorrow. And, Alan, you look at everything we've done, it's only been 380 days since we bought the boat. In that 380 days, not only did you have to do all the back of the house stuff, set up two offices, hire all the crew members back, remodel the boats, repair the boat, set up an accounting system, get your marketing out, set up a reservation system. But yeah, it was repairing all the boats and putting a new engine in the Victory 2, new block, new crank, rebuilding the engines. Over 20,000 linear feet of new wiring, new control systems, battery boxes, everything, painting the boats. And then in here, new carpets, new wallpaper, new china, new silverware, new drapes. So we've done an awful lot in a very short period of time.
So the old stats, though, 190 people each?
190 people each and 96 crew members representing 19 different countries.
Right. And so what else can we tell them from the length and breadth?
Yeah, so about 300 feet long, 58 feet wide, enough to fit through the St. Lawrence Seaway where we are today, going by 1,000 islands. And so the boat was purposely built, as you know, the Cape May Light and the Cape Cod Light, purposely built just for the Great Lakes. And they suit these waters extremely well. When you go through the locks, you just have a little room to fit in. But our guests love it because at 190 guests, you get to meet everybody, you get to meet the crew, and you become family.
Okay. Now, you gave us a new and updated version of your Boy, a Boat, and a Dream. You gave us version 2. And one thing you said in there, you cited how you credited Hornblower, which at the time was the Hornblower Cruises and Events, as starting your career.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that, because you mentioned how we came to the point where you suddenly had to buy back Victory. Right. So can you just take us through that?
Yeah, it's a 40-year story. As you know, I started with Hornblower Cruises and Events with Terry McRae in 1989 after I graduated from Cal Poly with an MBA in finance. They were looking for someone that had both a master's license and an MBA in finance to run the 1,000-passenger boat we just built, the California Hornblower. So I was hired, did that for 2 years, and then promoted to Director of Marine Operations for Hornblower Cruise and Events, a fleet of 29 dinner cruise boats. And then in 1994, I started Hornblower Marine Services, consulting to riverboats, and then from there it was ferries and government services, and in 2011 it was let's buy the American Queen, and to 2024, let's buy the Victory 1 and Victory 2. A crazy story.
Yeah, but you skipped the part we want to hear about.
Which part is that?
Well, you said suddenly you basically had been so successful that Hornblower wanted to restructure or do something different. So how did that happen, and then how did you bring the Phoenix?
Yeah, so it was really my partner Terry McRae in 2018. It was basically, hey, John, we're both getting a little bit older. Neither one of us, have any heir apparents in our family. So why don't we roll both companies together, put a book out on the street, which we did. We were purchased by private equity. And once we were purchased by private equity, I signed a 3-year employment agreement. And when that came to an end, they said, here, be vice chairman, sit here for a while. And I
remember we were doing interviews, and you were saying that that's what had happened.
Yeah, that's what had happened. And they didn't do as well as they hoped, and they declared bankruptcy, and these boats became available for sale. And so
that's what we want to hear about now.
That's what you want to hear about. Well, the crazy thing is, Alan, and when you're kind of halfway retired, but I have to admit, I didn't enjoy retirement. It didn't suit me well as a guy that's used to getting up at 5 o'clock every morning and going to work. So when the boats came available for sale, I had to have the chat with Claudette, which was, hey, honey, what do you think about getting back into the cruise business? And it was, geez, I hope we don't have to hawk our house and all your cars and everything again. And I said, no, I don't think we have to, and we can do this. And, the auction happened very quick, Alan, from the time they put the notice out on the street till the time you had to become a qualified bidder, till the time there was an auction. It was slightly over 40 days, I think. So it was quick, and you had to make a lot of decisions pretty quick. And, you had to have cash ready to buy the boats. And luckily, we're in a place in our life where we did, and we bought them, and here we are today, a short 380 days later.
And you say the band got back together.
The band did get back together. So when people like yourself say, John, why did you do it? I give them 3 or 4 reasons. Number one, I was too young to retire. Number two, after being in the marine business for 50 years and working hard at it every day, I found that my whole social structure was people like you and the people I worked with, and that I didn't have many activities outside of work. And so I missed everybody. And so number two was putting the band back together. And I'm here to say that, out of our 36 shoreside crew, 28 of them have been with me for like 10 years or more. And Christina Hobbs, our chief administrative officer, added it up, and it's 975 years of maritime experience between those 28 people. Okay. And so everybody says, well, how were you able to do this as quickly as you were? And I said, well, it was plug and play. You plugged everybody back in. They just got right back in, from David Kelly, who was in charge of all the hotel operations, Bill Annan in charge of maritime, Sarah Fury in charge of guest services, and we got to hire our chefs back, the onboard crew you got to hire back, and so Carrie Tarnowski to do our marketing, Bob Salmon to do sales, so everybody just came back, and here we are. Let's start a cruise company.
So we're going to do something special tomorrow, and I'm going to shoot video, and as you talk about it, what can we expect? I'm going to show them.
What can we expect? We can expect... Wow, probably a few tears.
I'll catch that.
I know. It has been, I say in my opening, not to give my speech away, but I say, in business, there's always 2 ways to do things, the easy way or the hard way. We chose the hard way by default. And I talk about my hero, Lance Armstrong, about him and riding hills, and that, it was never going to be easy for him. And hills, they're not supposed to be, you coast up them. You work hard, and it's through that hard work that, you get the satisfaction. And so I think, that's what we're going to hear. And we're going to get to thank a lot of people. I'll have to look, but we'll have 4 godmothers present, and that might be some kind of record. You'll have 2 godmothers in waiting, our granddaughter Molly and granddaughter Jasper that are both waiting. Molly will get to christen the Victory II in Chicago. So yeah, I think lots of fun things.
And the godmother for this trip
is Emily Coleman Forster, that is our last daughter. So now it'll be Claudette, my wife, all 3 daughters, 1 granddaughter, and 1 granddaughter to go. So there must be 1 more boat in me somewhere, Alan.
I want to show the ship. Yep. Let's talk about all the areas that you like.
All right. The areas that I like, for a small ship, it has lots of amenities. My favorite space in my office in the morning is the tavern. And I think anybody that goes into the tavern, it will remind you of the engine room bar on the American Queen. Yes. Designed by the same people, has the same look, same feel. Love the grill, a space that we just created, and love our new hot stone menu. Love our coastal dining room, love our theater where we get to do shows and have world-class entertainment. So the fact that we have a spa, a gym, and a doctor on board is important. So lots of amenities for a 190 passenger vessel.
For a little ship, you have entertainment nightly.
We do have entertainment nightly, so a lot of different venues. We have our own in-house band, and so a three-piece combo, but very talented. And then for this trip, we brought back some of our great performers that have performed with us at American Queen Steamboat Company, namely Greg and Lindy Penzick and Michael and Obi. So
24 hours. John Wagner staple.
That staple is a latte machine. You got to have the latte machine. You have to have the cookies, and you have to have the soft serve ice cream. I mean, anybody that was with us at American Queen Steamboat Company, they're used to it. So they say, "Where's the soft serve? Where's my cookies I get to crumble up? And where's the latte machine in the morning?"
And part of the entertainment, and I should have said it back then, was the Lake Lorien.
Yes, the Lake Lorien, very similar to our, River Lorien, but the Lake Lorien is experts, on the river, everything we get to see, and works in close association with the Great Lakes Maritime Museum.
So I interviewed Shelley, and we got a great overview of all the excursions. But from a founder's point of view, what satisfies you most?
Well, I would hate to say it, but what satisfies me most is that we didn't have to have a light ship and pay for it all from Portland to Toronto, and just being honest. And it was interesting because, the management team said, "John, a Portland, Maine to Toronto in April will never sell. Nobody will ever go on it." And I said, "Well, what if Claudette and I were on it? And what if we invited, Michael and Obi? And what if we invited Greg and Lindsay Penzick?" And I think we sold out in like 2 days, Alan.
And you went to the original database, and there are people on this craft that have been on all of your ships.
I've been on all the ships, and some of them 7 and 8 times, and they're very pleased. And, they really wanted to see the family again. And so it makes it great, and I hope you had a chance to interview a few of those guests.
So, John, we always do a funny story.
Yes.
Does this spark anything? You're going for a second time. The Phoenix is going to rise.
Right.
Something you didn't expect that was either hard or easier because of this.
Yeah, I think what I didn't expect, Alan, is that every day there would be something else blow up. I'll talk about it tomorrow because, we have our cul-de-sac group and some of our neighbors, Tom and MJ Mueller are on, Lee and Cheryl Zimmerman. And, every night when I got home, Tom and I, we'd have our, evening cocktail out by the river, and Tom would say, "Well, John, how was your day today?" And I go, "Oh my God, Tom, today was not a good day. The engine that we just rebuilt, the water pump seized up, and now there's fragments in the oil pan. We might need to buy a new engine." And the next day it'd be, "Geez, John, how was your day?" "Oh my God, Tom, now it wasn't a good day. We had 2 connecting rods rubbing together, causing heat. We might have to rebuild the whole engine." And so I think, Alan, my surprise was, even though we planned for everything, there was always something new every day. The great news is we had such a good team that you're always overcoming it. And that's a surprise.
That's part of the fun for you.
It's part of the fun for me. Everybody asks me, "Well, are you having a good time doing this?" And my response is, well, on any given day, I'm either 80% terrified and 20% excited, or, at 20% excited and 80% terrified, and so I think it's that whole scale. But it is so great to be back out here and see all of our guests and be on the water. And this is a tremendous route, as you know. Now, it's not our normal route from Chicago, Toronto, Toronto, Chicago, but really to cover everything you do from the North Atlantic to coming in, the St. Lawrence Seaway, to stopping in 2 of the best, European kind of cities in North America, Montreal and Quebec. And see everything there is to see, and the coal mines that we got to see, and explore our nation's history. And that's what all the Great Lakes are about, exploring our nation's history, the Industrial Revolution, and all the things that you never knew about our country but always wanted to know.
And let's sum this up. I realize we're going out to 128,000 travel advisors.
Yep.
What are the advantages of sailing with Victory Cruise Line over any other place in the world?
Yeah, so the advantages are, it's been always our advantages, is number one, we always take care of your guests. I think, everybody will say that their number one comment on board is, "Oh my God, the crew is unbelievable, the food is unbelievable, and the excursions are just unbelievable." And so number two is that, all of us are about lifelong learning. Number 3 is, as we all get a little bit older, we have some health issues. The fact that we have an onboard doctor and you get close to, a U.S. hospital or medical care is important. But I think number 3, Alan, is just the ease of getting here. Almost anybody in the U.S. can get to Chicago or Toronto fairly easy. And I tell everybody, I'm taking an international cruise right now. It departs out of Hamburg, Germany. And I just looked at flights, and it's $3,100 for a flight, where when we fly home, it's a Southwest flight, Chicago to Louisville for $99. So that's a big advantage for our guests. And you're not on an 11-hour flight, and you get to learn more about our country, and you get to support the great operation we have.
And we're talking about English is spoken,
Yes.
and it's very local.
Very local, yeah, and very local, and everybody's.
So then, for the final thing I want to ask is, what do you want how do you want travel advisors to sell Victory Cruises?
Well, I want them to sell quick and a lot is a short answer. But I mean, guys, it's I think when travel advisors sell, Victory Cruise Lines, you can rest assured your guests will be taken care of. They'll have a wonderful time. They'll come back with great reviews, and they'll ask you to book another cruise soon.
Thank you, John, for talking to us.
Appreciate it.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.